Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be showing you how to RCM Tier 4 E-Man in Aurora armor. I'll be showing you some tricks I've learned along the way since I've been doing this for a while now. I'm quite close to E-Man 8 and yeah, I've just gotten used to it, and there's a few little things that you should know to quicken your bosses and make it a bit easier for you. The first thing I'm going to talk about is what is required to do this boss. So you should, if you're doing it in Aurora, it's very squishy, so you will need very good Aurora. I have Fiery Aurora and I got G6 P6 Wisdom 5 with Mana Vampire 7. Mana Vampire 7 is great because it just gives you some more defense when you spam your hype. And I have these Wither Goggles. Now you can see I have Refrigerate 5 on these Wither Goggles, and if you want a more in-depth guide to Refrigerate 5, you can check out my video I made on that. But this basically just grants you 1000 defense after spamming your hype, so you get more defense in the hit phase, so it's easier for you to survive. All these pieces of armor should have fumings, just max them out as much as you can. Mana Pool Vitality is great on Aurora because it gives you some intelligence and also heals you, so I definitely recommend Mana Pool Vitality. Of course, Mana Pool Mana Regen is better, but that's very expensive and is not worth it if you're just going to use it for E-Man Slayer. Now, for hit phase, a lot of people use Duplex 5 term. I personally don't, because it's a little annoying going back and forth to the hub to refuel with explosive arrows, which is why I just use Reaper Scythe. But technically, if you want to be completely efficient with your bosses, you'd use both. So I'd swap out my Wand of Atonement and Abuphone for my Terminator and an Atom Split, or Vorpal still works but Atom Split's better. Basically you just right click on the Atom Split or Vorpal, it gives you tons of ferocity, and then you shoot the boss using explosive arrows with the Terminator. I have Ultimate Wise 5 on anything because mana is a big issue with E-Man Slayer. You don't want to run out of mana, otherwise you'll probably fail the boss. As you can see there, I got 3 tank zombies, level 80, and Ultimate Wise 5, so they only cost 251 mana. Next I have my Hyperion. This has perfect gemstone slots like my armor, and it also has Ender Slayer 7. Ender Slayer 6 is just fine, but this will help speed up your bosses since it is better and you'll be dealing more damage to the boss. Another thing I see people use is Giant Killer 7. That is very expensive and I don't recommend it, but it does make a big difference like Enderman Slayer to your damage, so if you do have the money, if you're going for at least E-Man 9, it's probably a good idea to have this on there. Next we have Aspect of the Void. This is just self-explanatory, you just need it to teleport around. 501 is great for a damage boost during the boss and also spawning the boss. It makes it way easier to spawn the boss and you don't use up as much mana as you'd be just spamming your hype around killing all the mobs. Wand of Atonement, that's to heal you. Abuphone, if you fail the boss you respawn it with the Abuphone, or to check RNG meter or XP, anything like that. Overflux Power Orb, it grants you 100% base mana regen, heals 2.5% of your health per second, grants 5 vitality and 5 mending, and grants plus 25 strength. So this is a must have, at least an Overflux Power Orb or a Plasma Flux Power Orb. Last but not least, we have the Soul Whip. As you can see, I've Swarm 5 on mine just to increase the damage a bit, because you'll be spamming this during the hit phase, and when the hit phase ends, you'll actually be able to get some damage into the boss with the Soul Whip. If you have high ping like me, the Soul Whip will actually register after it goes out of hit phase for a split second. Obviously it won't deal too much damage, but it's still nice. You can see its ability. Every time I right click, it costs 0 mana, but because of the power scroll I have, it actually increases my mana by 5. So every time I right click, I'm gaining 5 mana, and I also have Mana Steal 3 on this, which also increases my mana gain per second while I'm spamming right click. So this is just a must have, it just regens your mana so fast during your hit phase and lasers. This is one of the most important items on the list. Next we have the pets. To summon the boss, you can either use a wolf pet or you can use an Enderman pet. I don't have an Enderman pet, but as you can see there, it just gives you 1.4x combat wisdom against Enderman, so it'll give you more combat wisdom against Enderman than the wolf will. The wolf just gives you plus 30 combat wisdom in general. Also, this lets you take less damage from end monsters while summoning the boss, because once you summon the boss, you'll have your auto pet rule set to summon the level 100 legendary Ender Dragon pet. Tier boosted you can get away with, but mine has the bubblegum held item. This probably isn't needed on the off occasion that my boss takes longer than 60 seconds. It's just nice to have the power blast for a bit longer. The Ender Dragon is just a must-have, tier boosted or not. End Strike, you can see, makes you deal 200% more damage to end mobs, which is crazy. On top of its base stats, which is plus 50 strength, 10% crit chance, and 50 crit damage. And also Superior, which is probably the most sought after perk, increases most stats by 10%, including magic find. So keep that in mind. One more thing we need to go over is accessories. If you have a look at my accessory bag, I have 1128 magical power, and I selected the sighted reforge. Of course the bizarre reforge will be a bit better. It's giving me an extra 300 intelligence, but that is on the expensive side. 350 mil, it's just not worth it unless you're going for Skyblock XP. Just don't buy this for Eman Slayer. You'd have to drop a judgment core to pay that off. It's just not worth it. But I definitely recommend having 900 plus magical power. It just makes the boss so much more easier because you have way more mana, and it's just really nice to have. Also, in your talismans, it is a very good idea to get their Ender Relic, because it reduces damage taken from Ender Dragons, Endermites, and most importantly Endermen by 25%, which is a huge buff to your survivability. And it is a must-have. It's very expensive, but it's another mythic talisman, and it just makes Enderman Slayer so much easier. So I highly recommend getting this talisman. Next, we have skills. I'm combat 60, enchanting 60, and alchemy 50. These all grant me intelligence and damage, which is essential for the boss. The more damage you do, the quicker it'll be. So enchanting 60, most people have that. Alchemy 50, if you don't have it, it's fine. You can do the boss just fine without it, but again, it just speeds up the boss because you're dealing more damage. Combat 60, I know a lot of people out there are doing Enderman Slayer without this because they haven't reached it yet, and that's fine. You'll probably end up reaching it from Enderman Slayer because Enderman Slayer gives you a ton of combat XP. Also, your equipment. So I'm using a Rift Necklace with Quantum 5 and Waxed. I should probably change Waxed over to Brilliant, but I also use this for dungeons currently, so I won't do that at the moment. But this grants you vitality, wisdom, magic find. It's just a good piece of equipment to have. Also, something that not many people use but is very effective is the Dragon Fate Cloak. I have Brilliant on this, and since all my stats are tripled while in the end, it's going to give me 36 intelligence. A implosion belt is a must-have. You don't need God Roll implosion belt. You can just have like mana pool vitality or mana pool veteran. It'll be as good. But this increasing all explosion damage dealt by 25% is just great. And also going with contagion, a mana pool, mana regen, glowstone gauntlet is really good, but I'm just using this for spawning the boss and also killing it because freeze 5, veteran 5. It makes spawning the boss that little bit easier, and also freeze 5, I don't use up as much mana while spawning the boss, so it's pretty good. Okay, that's about it for the gear. If you have any questions or want to point out some stuff I missed, be sure to let me know. But the next section is going to be going through the boss fight and how to do it. So I'll go ahead and spawn a boss using my fire veil to kill the minis. This will spawn it. I'm 79 out of 84 kills, so this will definitely spawn my boss. And the first thing you want to do is swap to your overflux, place it down, and also summon your Reaper Scythe tank zombies, and then swap back to your Soul Whip and hit the boss. Swap to your 5L and spam hype. Swap back to your Soul Whip. You can also hotkey over to your Wand of Atonement to heal if you need. And then swap to your hype, go back to your summons, then go back to your Soul Whip. It's just a lot of repetition after this. You just need to do like 20 or so bosses to get used to it. there you go, killed the boss. Some other little things I just remembered was if you're using Badline client, you can actually go to mods, name tags, and turn off your name tag. This is something I was using when I was practicing, and it's really helpful because you can see the HP of the boss really clearly. It just frees up the screen a bit and makes it easier to do. Also, I was using a Badline cape and I disabled that because it was kind of getting in the way. So as you can see, it's much easier to see the hit phase now, how many hits remain. And with refrigerate, like I said before, you can see down there I have 2250 defense. That's from spamming my hype, but that just, like, I can just walk through the laser beams and I don't take that much damage. It's a really easy and safe way to do the boss. So yeah, but you can see there soul up just takes me back to max mana, swap to my hype, and completely shred the boss. Sometimes the boss takes aggro on you and so the summons, and if that happens, move around the boss until it hits one of the summons, and this should take aggro. See, I just move around and it walks straight into the summons. There we go. If you liked the video and found this helpful, please let me know. If there are some things I missed, then you can tell me in the comments. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.